MDfashionco podcast. We have some responses from the last podcast where people got angry in the comments at me about me saying Pokemon is going to zero. We have responses from both the people. One of them seems to fold and the other one stands firm. Let's start with Angry Axu 13 hours ago. Says, PSA and GameStop are literally buying slabs, which are graded Pokemon cards, at 90 to 95% of market value. Companies exist to turn profit, not light money on fire. That's true. If they believe the long-term trajectory was zero, they wouldn't be deploying capital at near retail buy levels. Not necessarily. They could be stupid. They could be doing it for other reasons, or if they're doing it for a profit, they could be wrong. They are speculating to a degree. They're doing it because they see future demand, brand durability, and secondary market demand. Institutional buyers don't pay 90 to 95% unless they expect upside or sustained liquidity. Right. Firstly, you're going to have to show me the evidence of PSA and GameStop buying slabs at 90 to 95% of market value, because I don't believe that. Because people don't even pay, for a lot of gold items, they don't even pay that. And gold is a very, very liquid, insanely liquid thing, right? Gold is far more liquid than Pokemon cards. So I don't know where that is. At 90 to 95% of market value, who determines market value? On something that's such a wide market, right? You know, even between a PSA 10 Charizard, which is like a good PSA 10 versus a not good PSA 10, the price can be so different, right? There was one Charizard that was really, really good. Like, it was practically mint. It sold for much more, and both were PSA 10. So I don't know how they're determining market value, right? Those are the two things I don't understand. I don't think that PSA and GameStop are buying slabs at 90 to 95% market value. And in addition to that, I don't think that how are you determining market value? You can get an average, a rough estimate, yeah, but every card is different, right? Also, Angry Axu says, modern Pokemon isn't a fixed supply investment. It's a consumer product ecosystem with cyclical demand across sealed product, vintage, playable singles, and promos. Pokemon hasn't peaked, right? Okay, firstly, this statement is very, very well-worded statement. Modern Pokemon isn't a fixed supply investment, although a lot of people, I think that it is. They think that modern Pokemon boxes, you buy them and then when they get discontinued, they go up forever, right? It's a consumer product ecosystem with cyclical demand across sealed product, vintage, playable singles, and promos. I think vintage Pokemon is different to modern Pokemon. So I don't know. I don't really know what that means. Yeah. But sure, modern Pokemon isn't a fixed supply investment. That's what I said. Yeah, modern Pokemon, if you're holding that for the long term, it's a bad idea. And that's what this last guy says. So, Pokemon hasn't peaked. It continually brings in new players and collectors through games, animation, tournaments, and global merchandising at a scale Yu-Gi-Oh! Never reached. That's true. That's true. This is a true statement. It continually brings in new players and collectors through games, animation, tournaments, and global merchandising at a scale Yu-Gi-Oh! Has never reached. I agree with that. Pokemon is far bigger than Yu-Gi-Oh! But it's not bringing the people in enough, right? It's still pandering to the biggest player base, which is older people. You also have entire marketing divisions spending hundreds of millions doing the advertising for you. They're doing the advertising for you? That is not really true. They're doing advertising for new products, right? And they're keeping Pokemon a strong product. I understand that you're aligning towards it, okay? But when we're talking about long-term investment, you can align to different brands, right? That's very interesting. That's like saying investing in McDonald's and saying, we have marketing divisions spending hundreds of millions doing the advertising for me. Yes, but you own a percentage of McDonald's. You don't own a percentage of Pokemon, right? You own a product that they made that they can also mass produce. So that's a bit of a silly comment, Angry Axu. Come on the podcast and debate. which is why the brand keeps renewing its audience. So it keeps renewing its audience because they're spending hundreds of millions doing the advertising. Does that sound sustainable to you? Let me get the laugh. Right? Is that sustainable? All right. If your point is that Modern Sealed isn't a permanent store of value, no one disagrees. Okay, there we go. No one disagrees with my statement there. But claiming the entire franchise is dying is false. I disagree. I think it's peaked and it's going down. If, as Tony Robbins said, if you're not growing, you're dying. Now, let's have a look at James A. painting jabs. Or firstly, I'll end up with Angry Aksu just saying, we agree on certain points. What we disagree on, right, overall, is that you think Pokemon hasn't peaked. It's still growing. It is still, I think overall, it's going down. I do think that. And that's just the life cycle of everything. I'm not trying to diss Pokemon. I love Pokemon. But that's the life cycle of everything. All right. James A. Painting Jap.7777 says, listen, yes, I agree about holding for a lifetime. So they agree that you don't hold Pokemon for a lifetime. But I'm not a Pokemon investor either. I'm just a Pokemon collector. What? You was talking like a Pokemon investor in the last video. You said I done bought these cards for 20,000. Now they're 60,000. He's just a Pokemon collector. Again, you are emotional about Pokemon. You've literally said what I was saying in the last one. Who bought a lot of cards at the right time. They happen to explode in value. This is exactly what I said. This is what I said. So I guess if you're talking to the people who are putting their money in Pokemon to make money in the future, then maybe I agree with you. But I'm not in that category. So now you're saying, so you're going back on what you said. You said Pokemon's a great investment because of me, because of my anecdotal evidence. Exactly. You done got called out, James A. Painting Jap 7777. Right? You're not in that category. Exactly. But to try and clown me because of a talk to text error, come on, dude. You're calling people stupid because they are into something that you're not? No, I'm not calling people stupid because they're into something that I'm not. I'm calling people stupid because I think they're long-term investing in Pokemon and they're letting their emotions blind them, just like you're letting your emotions blind you in this. And now you've rescinded that comment. You say you do agree with me, right? So there we go. You said that you agree with me, and now you're just being emotional because I done called you out because you used a talk-to-text error. Yes, I respect your opinion and agree. Don't buy Pokemon to make money. I collect for the same reason people collect anything, passion and enjoyment. There we go. So it's not an investment. Pokemon is not an investment. And look, James A., you have said very sane things in this. This has been very sane, and thank you guys. Look, Angry Aksu, or if you want to come on the podcast, we can debate. And thank you guys for watching this MDfashionco podcast. I'm talking about Pokemon collectibles, people trying to invest in them. The reality is James A. Painting Jap has shown his hand here, and he has shown his hand and said that, yes, you are right, MDfashionco. I was just being emotional, and you were just being emotional with your quote-unquote investment, and you were being anecdotal, saying I bought at the right time. So just because you bought at the right time means everyone's going to buy at the right time and make money? Come on, y'all. All right, leave a comment. Let's do this. Thank you, guys.